Hey guys, my name is 𝔐𝔲𝔰🦩, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made these awesome little leather bracers. Now this might be the easiest project I've ever done. It's so easy. You watching this video, you can make this too. Literally anybody can make this. So if you're trying to find some bracers for a LARP, or for a cosplay, or just to dress up for Halloween or for the Renaissance Festival, you can easily go to your local craft store, get some leather strips, and just simply make this yourself. In this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how I made these specific bracers, but obviously you can switch it up a bit, make it your own thing. This is a super easy, cheap project to make, and if you want to know how to make these yourself, or if you're just curious on how I made these, keep watching the video and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so to start out, I'm basically just sketching out the design of the bracers. I wanted to do this sort of triangular shape, and then at the end I wanted to make it a little squiggly and make it look like it belongs in the forest. Now, using some real leather that I got from Joann's, I'm basically just shaping it on my arm and seeing where I need to cut it. So the leather is a little bit too long on the end, so I'm just going to cut it in a straight line on each side. So here I'm just measuring out about where that is. I'm not really focusing on it being perfect, since these are going to look homemade and like an elf made it in the forest, you know? So if you wanted to look like super professional, like a knight or a queen or somebody important is wearing these bracers, maybe you want to focus a little bit more on the actual measurements. But since I'm just a little wood elf, I'm just kind of winging it. Just kind of eyeballing it. But I do measure it a little bit with my ruler here. Also, sorry this isn't the best setting. I'm literally just making this whole project on my bed. And sorry if sometimes I'm kind of like going off the camera a little bit. Here I am drawing the triangle part that's going to go on my wrist. And then I'm going to cut off the excess. So it's going to go around my wrist. And then the top triangle part is just going to sit on top of my hand. And I thought it was still just a tad bit too long on one side, so I'm simply just trimming this off. This whole project is kind of trial and error for me, and if it's your first time making bracers, it'll probably be trial and error for you too. So here I'm just basically sketching out the top part of the bracer that goes up towards my elbow, and I am just doing a very rough sketch of the little triangle part of it. And I want it to look kind of squiggly, kind of like a witch hat or something. I want it to look very fantasy and foresty. So that's why the end of it has those little squiggly lines. And I'm just simply cutting off the excess on the ends. Now, in order to duplicate this, I'm simply putting this over the other leather strip and just tracing it. And then I'm going to cut it out just like it is. But the tip part, the squiggly bit, I kind of made it going the other way, and I kind of made it shaped differently. That way it doesn't look completely symmetrical, because I purposely wanted it to look not symmetrical. If you wanted to make bracers that are just very basic and simple looking, you could just cut straight across in a straight line, or you could do a simple triangle. You don't have to do the whole squiggly thing like I did. Okay, so now for the part that goes underneath my arm. Since I cut it in a straight line, it doesn't fit my arm perfectly, because, you know, my wrist is super thin and then it gets fatter towards my elbow. So I actually have to cut this line at an angle if I want it to look straight on my arm. Because right now, it's like overlapping at my wrist, and then it's not connected towards my elbow, so I want there to be a straight gap all the way across. Alright, so these are my last bracers that are disgusting. I got from Amazon. They're huge on me and they're so basics, but I just wanted to use it as like a reference to look at for the little holes. Oh, this part I was just trimming off the end that goes on the back of my wrist in these little triangle shape just to make it look a little bit nicer. But with the holes, you see how my other bracers have these little ringlets around it? I didn't buy these ringlets mainly just because I was lazy, but I'm glad I didn't because those ringlets are very noticeable and they look really professional. But I didn't want my bracers to look professional. I wanted it to look like it came from the forest. So since I just have little holes, which I am trying to do right now, I'm trying to figure out how the heck I'm going to make these holes because I didn't buy a leather hole puncher. I ended up actually using scissors just to cut a little slit. And I was thinking, oh, this is going to look really bad with just, you know, a little slit. But it actually looked really good because you couldn't see the holes hardly at all. So it looks more handmade, it looks more natural, it looks more like it came straight from the forest. But if you want your bracers to look really professional, I would recommend you getting a hole puncher for leather or whatever you're using, and then get those little ringlets. They're not called ringlets, I forget what they're called, but you basically just put them inside the holes and it looks nice. Okay, now I just grabbed some leather strips or strings and I'm just threading it through the holes. And that's how it's going to stay on my arm. So it basically looks like that when I'm finished. Now just to make this a little bit more like raggedy and foresty looking, I'm just going to cut out these little holes, these little pointy bits, just to make it look less perfect, I guess. I wanted it to look like, not necessarily worn down per se, but, you know, foresty, raggedy. I want it to look like my wood elf character made these herself. Okay, so now I am taping these squiggly lines because I want it to be a darker color. So I'm actually going to spray paint these, and I have a spray painted leather before and it works just fine. It'll just be a little bit less soft, but I don't really care about the top part being soft as long as the bottom part is soft, which it still is. So I'm just taking different shades of brown and kind of just randomly painting it all over because I don't want it to look like a perfect color. I want it to look more natural. And I want those squiggly line bits to be a darker shade of brown. I don't know, I just liked it like that. So that's why I put the tape over it, so it could have like a nice straight line of where it gets darker. And then I'm just going back over all the brown colors and just kind of randomly winging it. Okay, so now I am cutting out these holes at the end where the squiggly line is, just to make it more raggedy. Let's see how many times I've said raggedy in this video already. And I was kind of nervous that this raggedy, foresty look was not gonna look as good as it does. But now that I've finished it, I'm really happy with how it looks. I like that it doesn't look perfect. I like that it looks like it belongs on a wood elf. But yeah, this is the finished look. I would love to know what you thought of these bracers and this project in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing because I do make other content like this. I make other crafting videos, I make other cosplay videos, other LARP videos. And as always, thank you guys so freaking much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next video.